Morning everyone, it's Roz here. Well, as you can see, it was a very foggy morning and the horses Bill was resting and Bella was hiding in the corner waiting for foxes to come. With this sort of foggy weather and time of year, the foxes are always on patrol looking to see what they can steal, especially in terms of chickens. And the horses developed years ago a particular liking for stomping foxes, and it happens to be one of Bella's favourite games. Anyway, she's already up out of bed and she's got herself hidden in the corner between the sheep's pen and the bush, camouflaged, waiting for a fox. Bill wasn't invested this morning in fox hunting, but it was him who actually taught her many years ago the art of stalking and camouflage, and she still enjoys the game, although this morning she's still very hormonal and spent quite a while trying to ease and give herself some relief from being in season. Now that Bill's between 7 and 8 years of age, he's very much the herd leader out of the two, and he objects to Bella being over in the corner, and so he pushes her out and then sends her off. Typical sort of what you'd say stallion behaviour, even though Bill's a gelding and fully gelded, and no, he's not a reg and he's not proud cut or anything, but he has very strong male tendencies, and he goes about his business with authority and dictates to Bella at times when he feels that she shouldn't be near a fence or she shouldn't be vulnerable. He also checks out when she's in season and ready to mate. He doesn't try and mount her, but he certainly goes through the processes of checking on her and sending her off, from any potential threats that he feels there are. Daisies. Well, the morning chores are done. It's absolutely covered in fog in our area, and so it's going to be a beautiful day. Embo and Robin have got their breakfast. Sorry, I'm a bit out of breath because I've been carting around heavy bags of food, and I have Graves' disease, so there's days when I'm in a flare-up it affects my breathing, but that's alright. It's just all part of life, and I have my good days and the not so good days, but anyway, it's quite fascinating to watch the trees covered in fog in the background. I'll see if I can scan in so you can see it. Just see that tree peeking out through the background there. I don't know if the camera shows it as well as it looks in real life, but it's super beautiful. Well, these two are nice and peaceful at the moment, and Bella's been on fox alert this morning. She learnt that game from Bad Boy Billy a number of years ago when foxes used to try and come in and get our chickens, and they were quite successful until Billy came along, and he, being territorial and having a great dislike for four-legged creatures, wanted them gone at any expense. So Bad Boy Billy used to hide in the bushes and patrol the fence line as soon as he spotted a fox. And it's amazing the distance horses can see, because he would spot the foxes coming from the bush from a long distance, and you'd see him hiding behind the bushes and the trees, and all you'd see every now and then was his head poking out, but he'd be along the fence line behind the sheep there. And as soon as the foxes came near, or if they made the mistake of trying to get through the back paddock and up to the chicken pen, they got chased down and stomped. And I remember one particular morning when I could hear this dreadful screaming, so I came rushing outside to see what was going on, and the horses were trying to stomp to death a fox. Bella learnt the game, and she was so thrilled about the whole thing that she came prancing up to me and was thrilled with herself and wanted to be congratulated. Well, ever since then, these two think it's a wonderful game, and so you can't let dogs or anything in the back paddock or in the paddocks with them, because they both are experts at stomping foxes and anything that's four-legged and looks like a fox, whether it's a dog or a fox. And I think probably with Billy, he learnt that from his days out in the wild, protection of the herd of course, and he carried that over to life on our property. It's interesting because quite often I've had conversations over the years about some of Bill's behaviours, and I've had people tell me, oh, he's aberrant, you know, for his guarding and he's chasing off foxes. I mean, look, you know, the downside is he's chased poor old Robin, not Rambo, but he's chased Robin around with the intent of doing him in because he doesn't like Robin for whatever reason. Not that Robin, our pet sheep, has ever done anything to him. But Bill's not a fan of Robin. And funny, because he's always nice to Rambo, but mind you, Rambo stands up for himself, and he's quite happy to stand with sheep and be around them. He just has it in for Robin. No idea why really, other than the fact that Bella might have triggered that in some of her antics, because she enjoys a bit of sheep herding as well. Bella is funny because when she's chasing sheep, she's actually herding them. She doesn't have intent like Bill does, but she does love the thrill of the chase and gets very excited if she's herding anything up and makes all these little noises of excitement, which is really funny to hear. But anyway, that's why we keep the sheep separate from the horses, is because neither one of them is trustworthy when it comes to rounding sheep up. They were more than happy to do it on their own. They would make very good herding horses because they've got that cowiness. At some point in the future, if I ever get the time, I would like to try Bill out with, you know, cattle herding and some of the games that go on, because I think he'd really enjoy it. The only thing I think I'd have to be concerned about is his killer instinct. If I could overcome Billy's killer instinct towards what he regards as threats, if it's a game, you know, if it's not threatening Bella, if it's not threatening me and he finds it fun, he's more than likely to participate. And I can't imagine Bill ever being frightened of cows or steers or anything like that. Bill's a real gutsy horse. Nothing much intimidates him. He's always willing to have a go back at anything that challenges him. That's part of his nature. and I'm not against that. It makes it easier in some ways because, you know, he's not frightened of kangaroos, he's not frightened of other creatures, he's not frightened by winds or storm, and that's the benefit, I think, of owning a brumby. So anything that's come out of the wild and had enough time in the wild adapts to their environment, and so they're familiar with Australians' animals, whether it be kangaroos or whatever. I know he's chased the kangaroos out of our paddock at different times, again because Bill's territorial. And, you know, I hear people say, oh, horses aren't territorial. My arse, they're not. He is definitely territorial, always has been. He doesn't patrol the boundaries anymore like he used to in his younger hoon days. And I think mainly because he's between 7 and 8 now, and he's matured and grown up and got out of some of those younger hoon type antics. But look, you know, if he will challenge and chase if anybody or anything that he thinks is a threat to Bella, and we've seen him in action, so we know he does it. We've seen pieces of 4x2 laying at our fence line, so we know that at some point in the past something definitely came into the back paddock and took on Bill and lost. So Bill is a natural warrior, I think whether he'd been born in the wild or born in a domestic situation, he's a gutsy horse. He's got a huge personality, if you've not already realised that, but he's also very courageous. Nothing much intimidates him, and he's always prepared to fight back and resist. That's just his nature. He's got a lovely character. As you've seen, he's really good with me, and he did a lot for me when I was blind. He protected me, and I don't think he would ever have shown any of those traits if he hadn't been born with the character and the qualities he's got, and that comes down to natural selection, and Billy's a product of natural selection. And you know, he's obviously come from a herd you know, that had courage and intelligence, and fortunately he inherited that, and I don't despise that in any way or form, you know. I mean, domestic horses are fantastic. I love my girl, and I've loved all my other domestic horses, but Bill's special. He brings to me a lot of interesting traits that I don't think I would have necessarily gotten had he been born you know, in a domestic situation. On the downside, you know, it's a lot harder to tame a brumby than it is for a domestic horse, but once you achieve that level of trust and bond with them, they are fantastic horses. And honestly, I think Bill would do most things for me because he likes to please me, and also I like to please him, so we have a mutual relationship. So if you're considering a brumby, take the time to go and visit the rehomers, speak to people who own brumbies. There's plenty of them out there, and don't discard them. Don't see them as second-class horses, because often they're not. You just got to get away from the biases that are out there in the horse world and in general, because I've seen over the years a lot of people put brumbies down, and because they're called feral horses, they see them as lesser quality, and I don't think that's right. I don't think people should see them like that. You know, each their own, I suppose. Anyway, I better get on and do some work, and I'll come back out later.